5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Nashi Predky, Our Ancestors Live. I would like to welcome everyone that has joined the panel, as well as myself. I am Michelle Chabenko. I'm one of the co-facilitators for the group, and I'd like to offer welcome to Professor Volodymyr Bodnar, as well as Justin Houser. They are our two speakers this evening, as well as other panelists who have joined us. I will, introduce. This is our second Hangout On Air, and we're starting much closer to the 8 o'clock mark tonight, and I'm very happy to report that technical difficulties were at a minimum this evening. If I have posted the link in our community, as well as our Facebook community, as well as our Google Plus community. And if you're watching from the YouTube side, if you could utilize those communities for commenting, because we will not be monitoring any comments posted to the YouTube side. So you can post on either the Nashi Predky page or within the Facebook group. We'll be monitoring that for conversation and feedback for our viewers, not just the panel participants. Justin, would you like to be first this evening?
Oh, I can be.
Okay. Justin will be one of our guest speakers tonight. He'll be speaking on Yandex. Yandex is a fantastic tool for researchers, and we'd like to explain it a little bit more for those of us who may not be within Ukraine or in Russia or in Eastern Europe, who would use it more frequently than those based in either the United States, Canada, or Great Britain. So I will turn it over to Justin and take care of some other technical things behind the scene for everybody. But again, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to everybody who has joined the panel, as well as watching us on Google Plus and or YouTube. Justin, you may take it away.
All right, and I hope that I will be able to do this with the screen share, so I may need a little help here with that. So let's see. Okay, I've opened that, and I'm going over here now, and I'm going to click screen share. Oh, I just lost that button. There it is, PowerPoint. Okay, now share. All right, can you see? Okay, let me try to make the PowerPoint slideshow big. Okay, can you see full screen in my window?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. All right. I tried to make it big so everybody could read, because when you're copying websites, it's not always that easy. But this is just going to be a very brief introductory presentation based on my own experience of how to use Yandex for Ukrainian genealogy research. Yandex is a Russian search engine. It's been around since 1997, and when we show you some screenshots here in a couple of moments, you will notice that it is very reminiscent of what I consider to be the classic Yahoo interface. And part of the reason for this is because Yandex it seems to me to be linked to a number of other popular services which are in Russia and former Soviet countries. Mail.ru, there's often a link to that on the Yandex site. So people sort of build profiles, and there's news on there and weather, and it's more than just a plain search engine. And right about now, it has about 55% of the market share of Russia's market, and it commands a similar influence, as we'll see, in Ukraine. And one of the major competitors of Yandex, of course, is Google. But in the context of Google, a lot of people don't know that instead of just going to google.com, you can go to google.com.ru or google.com.ua for Ukraine and get a more nationally tailored search experience. I'm not going to look at Google tonight, but just be aware that you can do, and you should be doing, searches through there as well as through Yandex. But since Yandex is more of a homegrown from this part of the world kind of operation, sometimes it picks up things in the search engines that you're just not going to find otherwise. And the name Yandex has two sources, or so I read. One of them is it's an amalgamation of yet another indexer, or it's a play on the word index, where the letter I in index, the Eastern Slavic word ya, takes the place of the letter I because it means the same thing. So the first thing that you need to do in order to do some searching in Yandex is to have an idea of what you're searching for. That can be a person's name, it could be a family name, it could be a place, it could be a town, it could be a region. But one thing that is very important when you're searching, especially for places that are now in Ukraine and were formerly part of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, is to remember that depending on the time period in the era, the names of towns and the names of people could be spelled either according to the Ukrainian alphabet or they could be spelled according to the Russian alphabet, depending on what policies were in place and who was in charge at the time. So one way to quickly, especially in the case of towns, one way to quickly find out both correct spellings of the town is I like to go to the Ukrainian Wikipedia, which is uk.wikipedia.org, and to type in there the name of the town as I know it to be in Ukrainian. Now, if you don't have Cyrillic keyboard on your computer, this can be rather difficult. You can download phonetic Cyrillic keyboards, which I have done, or you could go someplace like Google Translate and you could pop up a keyboard there and type it out. But once you get that Cyrillic spelling in Ukrainian, you can go to uk.wikipedia.org and you can type it in. Now, here I typed in a village that I've worked on in the past, Trelisi, and that's in Kirovohradska Oblast. And I pull it up, as you see, there's Trelisi and all of the information about it and so forth that Wikipedia, Ukrainian Wikipedia has. But if you look down here, you will see, you can see this link Ruski. So if I would click on that, I get to say, yes?
We can't see anything.
You can't see anything.
I can't see it. If you're in a browser, I can't see that you're in a browser.
All right. What was the last thing you saw?
You're still on your presentation page.
I'm still on my presentation page.
Yeah,
Okay. How about now? What can you see now?
Yeah. You can. Did you start the PowerPoint slideshow?
Yeah, but apparently that doesn't work with this.
Yeah. Well, you go back to screen share. Stop sharing.
Okay.
Start your slideshow.
All right. Let me start.
Toggle back to it.
All right. Well, the thing is, when I start my slideshow, it fills up the whole window.
That's okay. Then use your Alt-Tab to go back to the window for the tab. Yes.
All right. Let me start the slideshow. Okay. Now Alt-Tab.
To go back to. Oh, funny thing, the keyboard still does things for us.
Yeah. So now where am I? I'm in the.
And then so go to screen share now, and then now you'll be able to pick your full screen of your PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Screen share.
Mm-hmm. And now you should get that as a full. There you are.
There. Now can you see the actual slide in full screen? Yeah.
So why don't you take it maybe one slide back, just kind of highlight.
All right.
Because I think we missed that slide.
Yeah. Well, that was just what I just said typed out, so that's okay. We'll go to the. So when I got here, so this is once I've gone to typed it either phonetically or I've gone to Google Translate and I've gotten my village, which in this case is Trelisi, and I put it in to uk.wikipedia.org. And here's the page for this village. And if you haven't ever gone here, you might actually find this interesting and read about your villages on here in the Ukrainian Wikipedia. But and there's also Polish Wikipedia for those who are west of that line. Lots of interesting stuff. But if you go down here, you can see this where my arrow is. It says Ruski. And if you click on that, you get the same village. But now you get the Russian spelling of the name. So I would copy that and paste that somewhere. So now you have the Ukrainian spelling Trelisi, and then you have the Russian spelling Treliasi, which is both mean three forests. So okay. So now that I have the name of my village, and the same way you can go use a phonetic keyboard, use Google Translate, and to get the names of surnames and people that you might be looking for. So now then, let's go to Yandex. If you type in, there's two versions of it that are going to be useful to you. One of them is yandex.ru, up here, www.yandex.ru. That's the main site, the Russian version of the site. And you can see what I mean when I say it looks like a classic old Yahoo interface there. And the other version of it is Yandex.ua, which is the Ukrainian version of the site. And here's Yandex.ua. It looks very similar, but you see everything's in Ukrainian. So because different countries kept different records, different search engines pick up different things in different languages, it pays you to use both the Ukrainian and Russian spellings of your town, Ukrainian and Russian spellings of people's names, for example, Volodymyr or Vladimir, and also to use both the Ukrainian and the Russian versions of Yandex, and if you want to take it a step further, Ukrainian and Russian language versions of Google. So that's what it looks like. There's your search box. That's all pretty straightforward. Now, if you want to start typing here in Yandex, one way to do that, let me go back here 2 slides, is see over here next to where it says Naiti, which means search, there's a little keyboard icon, and this is the same in both the Russian and the Ukrainian versions. Once you get here, you can click on that, and there up comes a keyboard in the bottom of it. And so you can just click on these little buttons here and type whatever you want in Cyrillic. And this is the Russian version of Yandex, but you see down here it says Ruski. If I click on that, I get a whole list of languages, and you can see Ukrainska is down there on the bottom. So you could do English, you could do Belarusian, you could do German, whatever you want to do, you can put in here. So, of course, Ukrainian and Russian are probably going to be the 2 big languages that most of the things that you're going to be looking for are going to be in one of those 2 languages. So, okay, I'm on the Ukrainian version of Yandex here, and I have either used my own keyboard or brought up that keyboard, and this is a person that I know I'm looking for, Ilarion Trihub. And this is the Ukrainian version of his name. He was somebody that I have been researching, and I know that he lived in Ukraine in the early 20th century. And so I type in his name, I put it in quotation marks, because that way otherwise you would get web pages where it might have Trihub somewhere, it might have Ilarion somewhere, and the 2 might not be together. Now, if you don't have a very common surname, that's okay. But Trihub is a very common surname, so rather than waste my time at first, I'm going to type it in this way. And you also notice what I've done here is I have typed in the surname first, and then I have typed in the first name. And I've done that for a reason, because in most of the official documents from the Soviet period, and even following that, modern Ukraine, modern Russia, modern Eastern Europe, a lot of times the last name is listed first, then the first name. And so I would search it both by Ilarion Trihub. I would search, if I knew his patronymic, I would put that in. I would search it by Trihub Ilarion. I would try all of these things. So let's put this in, Trihub Ilarion, and we're searching in the Ukrainian Yandex, in quotes. So I do that, and I hit the Enter key, and I get 3 results. So, okay, we see something in here about Trihub Ilarion Mikhailovich. Okay, well, I know that's not the guy I'm looking for. And then I get a memory book from Kirovohradska Oblast, so that might be something that I want to look at. And you can see that it's in the Russian language. It picked it up for me. See, here's Trihub Ilarion, and it's in Russian, Ilarion Yakovlevich, which means his father was Yakov or Yakiv. And so I already know from my research that that's not the guy I'm looking for either, but he's in the same region. So later on I might want to look at him. And then finally, the third result that comes back is, and here it has 2 spellings of the name, and it has Ilarion of Ksentiovich. And this is the man that I know from my other research. This is the guy I've been looking for. And so, and there he is in Trilyasi, which is the right village. So I'm going to click on that link, and it brings me up to some forum. And it's a forum about Ukraine, deaths from Stalin's repression. So I do a Control F, and I search for the name Ilarion or Trihub, or you could just scroll down, whatever you want to do. And when I do that on this page, what do we see? We see a reference to him, Trihub Ilarion of Ksentiovich, 1901. This happens to be the year he was born, and he was born in Trilyasi. And it talks about his repression during the Stalinist times, his arrest and his trial before a troika, and it talks about his death. Sorry, it runs off to the right side of the screen there. He was shot in Kiev, it says there, and it says in font 5, Sprava 910. This data, there's more papers on him, and I was actually able to take the very information from this file. And when I was in Kiev, we went to the offices of the SBU, and we provided them with this information, and they provided us with his file. And we were able to make copies of the information concerning his arrest and what he was charged with and when he was executed, and all of that information during Stalin's repressions. So that was just through a quick Yandex search, last name, first name, took me to that very helpful information. Now, another way that you could search in here, of course, is you don't have to limit yourself to names. You can search by names, you can search by places. And so here, I typed in Trehub, which is, there seems to be two ways of spelling this, Trehub, and Trelisi, which is the village where I know that he lived. So I typed that in, again using the keyboard link if you want to do that. And I get a bunch of things now, because there were a lot of people named Trehub who lived in Trelisi. And so you see all kinds of things. I'm going to click on a few of these just to show you the kinds of things that this kind of a search can bring up for you. So I'm going to click on this second link here, beket.com.ua Kirovogradskaya Trelesi. So we click on that, and what do we get? But a page about the village of Trelisi. Now this page, as you can see, is all in Russian, and it's about the right village, Trelisi in Alexandrivsky Rayon in Kirovogradska Oblast, and it has lots and lots of data from different years, and you can scroll down through and see all kinds of things about the village where your ancestors lived. So, for example, here are pictures of Trelisi. This is what it looks like now. You can see there were a lot more pictures than this on the page. You can go through and look at those. Going down, here's a history of the village that showed up in a 1972 Soviet encyclopedia, I guess it was. And it talks about population statistics, historical dates when things happened, all kinds of stuff like that. And you can see some of this page is in Russian, some of it's in Ukrainian, which is not at all surprising when you're dealing with modern Central Eastern Ukraine, and anywhere really. It just depends whoever was writing it, which language they were more comfortable in writing. So you can see that, and if you scroll down a little further, here, amazingly, is a list of all of the people from this village who died in the Holodomor, and their ages and their causes of death, and I was able to find a couple of people on here that connected to the family that I was researching. And you can see it gives their last name, their first name, and their patronym. So you can, in many cases, take it back even another generation if you find somebody in a list like this. So that was a tremendous find. Just by putting a last name and the village in Yandex and poking around a little bit in the results, I came up with this very helpful information. And at the bottom of the page, there is even more. This lists some of the locations in the Ukrainian archives where some of the church metrical books for Trelisi are located. And this happens to list just the records that are held in the Kirovogradska archive. But that's very helpful information to have. I happen to know that there are other books in other archives, but this is a great start. If you're just getting started on a village, through 2 clicks to be able to find all of that information, that's great. Now let's go back to the main page, and we will click on another one of the links that's presented here. I think the next one I'm going to go to is this right here, this Kievskie Yeparchalnie Vedomosti. And so I click on that, and it takes me to the forum, which I think is going to be discussed in the future sometime, so I'm not going to get too much into it now, but vgd.ru, and this is a genealogy site for people researching all over Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. And so by putting in just the village I'm looking for and the name, I get this series of posts. It looks like 23 pages of posts of information from the publications of the Orthodox Diocese of Kiev, which is what Tbilisi was part of at that time. So if I do a Control F and a find on this page, there it is, Tbilisi at that time. And see, it's telling me in 1913, at 17th of March, there was this edict issued, and they were honoring some people in connection with 300 years of the Romanov dynasty ruling the Russian Empire. And all these people from the villages were involved in this honoring and this project. And here we have Tbilisi in Chigrinskogo Uyezda, which means that tells me what region it was in the Russian Empire. And this Adrian Pashenko. So there's this gentleman who was living in Tbilisi who was involved in that. And there are pages and pages and pages of these edicts that mention all of these villages, so that you can get not only information about your particular ancestors, but also something of the life and times of these people when they lived in these villages. Now, you're saying to me, Justin, I don't have enough of a command of Cyrillic. I don't, and believe me, I'm by no means an expert in these languages. I'm learning every day. But if you can't read any of this, and you're not sure even what you're looking at, you don't have to despair, because especially in a browser like this, in Google Chrome, there will be a link up on the top right where you can click to automatically translate these pages. This happens to be in Russian, and translate it into English. And even if you're not using Google Chrome, you can copy and paste this website address here into Google Translate, and it will produce for you a translation. So when we do that, there's what we get. And sorry, it's a little smaller there, but you can see it's a very, very rough translation. But there's Tbilisi, and there's Adrian Pashenko, right? There's that in Chigrinsky Uyezd translates to county. Well, that's close enough, I guess. But it talks about, see here, about the tercentenary of the Romanov dynasty. And so there you see, you can get an idea of what this is talking about, and if it's interesting to you. And there's your village you're looking for, 1913. So that's one of the things I found just by typing in the village into Yandex. You can find all kinds of things out there. So now I'm going to try another village, which is in a little bit more south in central Ukraine, Batisman. And the interesting thing about Batisman is the name of this village has changed. So I knew that the guy I was looking for in this research was born in the village called Batisman. But when I type it in here like this, and there it is, using the keyboard in Yandex if you want, the second link tells you, if you click on it, and again, use your Google Translate if you need to, but Batisman, the name has been changed to Sukhodolskoye in Russian, or Sukhodilske in Ukrainian. So I need to search under Batisman with two spellings. I need to search under the new name, both Ukrainian and Russian. But by doing all that, you get lots and lots of links. Here's something, a chronicle of World War II that mentions the village, something about the region. And so if you click through some of these links, here's something that you get. You get a listing from 1896 of the Khersonska gubernia, which is a region in, at that time, the Russian Empire. And it's a list of all of these districts and all of these towns. And the neat thing about it is that it tells you how many people were living there in 1896. It tells you different statistics. It also tells you where the churches were in this area, so that when you begin to contact the archives, you can see which towns near your village had churches and where the records that you're looking for might be. Because my research discloses Batisman never had a parish church. The people went to surrounding parish churches. Most of them went to Novohrigorivka, which is right here, also called Marzhanova. And so, and again, using your Google Translate, there it all is. And it's a rough translation, but right here, Orthodox churches were in these places. And it tells you right here where they were. It tells you where the Jewish house of worship was in this particular region. And it tells you all of the village in this region. And there's Batisman. So, and it talks about 5 wine shops. They had 2 taverns. They had a lumber yard. So you can get an idea of what this region was really like in 1896 when some of your ancestors might have been living there. So we go back, we do searches under the new name. For the village, we get all kinds of links. One of them I'm going to click on and show you something that it takes you to is a site called Odnoklassniki. And Odnoklassniki is kind of like classmates.com. And there is actually a page on Odnoklassniki for people who were from this village of Batisman, now called Sukhodilske. And they just post memories of the village and how things were, and do you remember this, do you know so-and-so. So if your ancestors were from that village, you might be able to find living relatives, you might be able to connect with people who knew your ancestors, all kinds of neat things. So here somebody posted a village of, I don't know if this was World War II or what it was going on. It looks very old. You could get on here, you could ask a question, you could write to this guy and say, hey, what's this picture about? What's going on here? And then here's some modern pictures of the village. Here's a World War II memorial of all of the people from the village who died in the war. You could enlarge these pictures and try to read the names and see if you can find some of your relatives. Here's some people here on the May 9th Victory Day celebrating in the village. All kinds of stuff like that. So, and just one more thing I'm going to show you very quickly is I typed in another name. This is a family that came from west of what's now the Ukrainian border. These were Boykos from Poland. My ancestors, the Ivanitsky family from Stavkova, and I type in their name and I get a few results back, some information about UPA. Some information about all kinds of people who may have died in the war, information from the Svoboda newspaper for a lot of immigrants who may have come from Stavkova, and the post on the VGD forum. So I go there, and I did this today, and I got all excited. Oh my, here is somebody talking about their ancestors came from Stavkova, their name was Ivanitsky, this person has to be my relative. So I wrote them, I quickly got, this is in the VGD forum that I showed you earlier, and I wrote this person a message, and after I finished writing them a message, I came back here and looked at their name. Well, this is my third cousin who lives in Ukraine. I already know her. So there wasn't too much exciting about that, because I'm writing to somebody that I already know. But nevertheless, by coming on here, if you didn't know that person, here's a relative who's searching for genealogy information about people of my surname from my village. They've posted here. And how did I find them? I typed in Yandex using the keyboard. I typed in the name of the village. I typed in the last name of the family, and I just started looking at the results. And if I don't know how to read them, I can use Google Translate. I can open it in Google Chrome and do the automatic translate. Whatever I need to do. And I can read about history, I can read about people, I can see what's going on in the village now, and I can maybe even find people who are looking for genealogy from that village, and in this case, my own family. So that is basically a very broad overview of what you can do with Yandex. What I just did took very little time because I already knew what I was looking for. But if you do it, you can spend hours and hours on there, no doubt, finding all kinds of neat things. So I guess that's a brief introduction to Yandex. I hope that you're able to use it. I hope that you can enjoy it. And if you're trying to use it and you stumble along the way or have questions, you know where we are on our Nashi Predky page or on the Google Plus page. Go ahead and ask some questions.
Okay. All right. Justin, thank you. Do we have any questions from the panel members? We'll start there, and then I'll hop out to the Facebook page or the Google Plus community to check for other comments. Any questions out there? Just raise your hand. Someone want to go first? Anybody?
Well, if you don't have your video on and you raise your hand, I won't be able to see you anyway.
Yes, that is true. We do have a few people who have their video off this evening, and that's quite all right. Okay, let me just. Oh, there we go. There we have a question. Go right ahead.
Yes, we're trying to get on which website?
Yandex.
The Yandex. And how did you, Justin, how did you bring up the keyboard once again? Because it's asking us to do like a code.
Authenticate ourselves.
Authenticate yourself. Well, it shouldn't ask you that. If you go to www.yandex, type yandex.ua, and we'll use the Ukrainian version. All right, now you see in the middle, you see the word Yandex in Cyrillic. It's got a red letter Ya, looks like a backwards R, and Yandex. Do you see that?
Do you see that? Hold on one second. Sorry.
Comments. Justin, we have no comments on Facebook. I'm checking Google Plus,
Okay.
Plus next.
So Yandex UA.
Yeah, you could do RU, but we'll do UA because it's I think it's a little easier.
Okay.
Now you see, okay, I don't know. Can you? I'll do this as for folks who have no familiarity with Cyrillic at all. So you see on the top, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the news stories of the day.
Yes.
And underneath it, there's the big word Yandex with the red letter Ya in the front.
Yes.
And then on the right, there's a yellow box, and it has a little cursor. Should have a little cursor flashing. To the right of that is a very light gray color keyboard, right before the little button with the words 90 on it.
Okay, Justin, before you click the keyboard, could you screen share that?
Yes, I can certainly try to do that. Let's see here.
We'll get you to be an expert on screen share before you know.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. Okay, now why does it? Okay, I tried to screen share. Let me try that again. Hold on. Oh, it's because it's in the same tab. I have to learn that. All right, all right. Okay, let's see. Screen share.
You can detach that tab.
I just did. There it is. Yandex. Okay, can you see? Okay, can you see the Yandex on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the cursor. Here's the word Yandex, and here's where you would type. But see right there in real light gray is a keyboard. Do you see that?
No.
You don't see that?
I know. We see it. It is showing in the when you put hover the cursor over it, it does become darker gray on our side.
Yep, that's the keyboard. So all you have to do is click it, and there's your keyboard. Now, that's in Ukrainian. You see the Ukrainian flag down here. You can click that, and if you want to put it, because Russian has some different letters than Ukrainian, you might need it. Click Russian, you get Russian, like get letter I there, and click it to Ukrainian, and you get your Y and other letters that you might need for Ukrainian. And you just can click on them. So if you want to do like there's shift if you want, and you can just type whatever you want to type there, and it gives you suggestions. Probably it's not going to suggest anything you want if you're doing a surname, but are you following that? Does that make sense? Can you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Great. All right.
Okay. All right. There were no questions in the Google Plus community either. So does anyone else on the panel have a question? Okay. Well, Justin, thank you very much, and I'm sure that our viewers are also saying thank you for that wonderful explanation and review of Yandex and how to use Google to the fullest of finding, number one, to translate things, as well as using Wikipedia to get the alternative spellings between Ukrainian and Russian. That is also very helpful, especially for those that have the research and ancestral connections to those oblasts from the former Russian Empire. So that is very good. Thank you very much for agreeing to be our presenter this evening. We do appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
All right. Our second presenter this evening, I welcome Professor Volodymyr Bodnar, who is one of the co-coordinators for the Ukrainian DNA project at Family Tree DNA and I will turn the mic over to him so he can explain, number one, introduce and explain the DNA project and its successes and where it's going, how it's growing, so that if you have not tested or done DNA testing, hopefully the information he provides this evening will help you make a decision to do a DNA test either of yourself or a older family member. That would be good. Volodymyr, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Michelle. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this panel. And I just greeting to, all the members of the panel and also online viewers that watch tonight this session. So I'm going to talk about the Ukrainian DNA project, which kind of young project, but it has grown a little bit since the beginning. So I'll try to share my screen and show about that. Hold a second, because I have too many windows open, but don't see the right one. Okay, hold a second. Okay. Do you see it or?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Okay, just a second. I'll just get to the right one. Okay. Now.
Yep, there you are. You are good.
Okay, so I am. My name is Volodymyr Bodnar. I am volunteering administrator of the Ukrainian DNA project at a company that does genetic testing for genealogical purposes here in the U.S. It serves the people not only in the U.S. domestically, but also basically any person from outside of the country can get their test done here, like in Texas, in the U.S. So basically, the company does several different tests, including the Y chromosome testing, DNA for Y chromosome testing for people that are interested in finding a common ancestor along the direct male line, or mitochondrial DNA testing for people looking for common ancestors on direct maternal line. But also there is another third type of test is called family finder that allow you to find any cousins living in present time, not far separated from you, but maybe like with common ancestors in several 5 to 6 generations past. The big difference between the Y-DNA and the mitochondrial DNA testing that they are first they're related to direct either male line or direct female line, but they actually can trace the relation far away, like in the past, for many generations. The family finder test only works for several last generations. So basically, the company, the family tree DNA or FTDNA, they do the testing. They provide some basic results in a certain form, but unfortunately, the number of people right now doing the testing at the family tree DNA is huge. It's probably close to 1 million. At least for sure there is like 700 different tests done. So the family tree DNA is one of the several companies doing similar tests. But what is good, what I like about the family tree DNA, they provide people with so-called projects. Because the company does not have ability to serve every customer in interpretation or help, they allow people to gather with similar interests and create so-called projects. So basically, the people who did testing at the family tree DNA, they either can join the existing projects, which is related to certain topic of interest, or they can start a new one. So the administrator, usually the person who starts the project, other people can join as a co-administrators or administrators of the project. They are serving as administrators on the volunteering base, so they don't get paid from Family Tree DNA for their service. The advantage is the administrators usually, if they have a little bit more knowledge how to interpret the results, they can help other people, and they also have access to the results of other people. So they have a little bit more information for dealing with their tasks. So the participation in the project is free and voluntary. Nobody, just because you test in the company, gonna suggest that you have to join the project, but you can. And there is a big selection of different projects. So right now it's more than 8,000 projects at FDNA running by different groups. So if you interested in joining one of the projects, you can find such project if it's coincides with your interest, or if you can't, then you can start your own, and then ask other people to join you in that project. So basically, that's I did this way. So basically, the project any project have public pages where the results are shared with outside world. Then, depending on how the project is set, there is a classical view results table with Y-DNA or mtDNA or mitochondrial DNA that people can see. Administrator choose to a certain extent what type of personal information is displayed, either like a kit number that people use for testing, or last name, or maybe the last name or name of the most distant ancestor, something like that. And then just general information like results of Y-DNA testing, STR markers, or SNP markers, SNP mutations, or for mitochondrial DNA also like list of mutations. About the family finder, the results usually are not shown in the public pages, so you cannot see basically more detailed or more information from the family finder. So you have to be either administrator to see those, or if you have a genetic match in family finder, usually you have a list of those people and some personal information like email or some list of ancestors, and maybe you can see the picture of person that you kind of related to. So in addition, actually later I'll show you the real pages of the project, but in addition to the just table of the results, you can see maps of ancestral locations, because each participant usually supposed to put the coordinates of their furthest known ancestor, and then those results can be presented on the map. So if you have some list of matches, genetic matches, you can kind of guess what region they belong to, and kind of figure out how you relate to them, in addition to any other information. Then each project usually have several pages that allow you to put background information like description. You can put some news, and the thing is, you can choose which results are public, which are shared only with administrators. Right now, the FDNA goes through introduction of new type of project view that's called beta testing phase, and actually our project became a part of that beta testing. So when I show you our project, that's going to be a new look for that. So the participants have some ability to change or set the administrator's level of access of each person's results. So the levels are read-only, when the administrator can only see the results, but cannot change anything about that, cannot change the personal information of the participants of the project. Or the level could be limited, so that would allow the administrator to do some basic work, maybe like fixing some locations, or adjusting the spelling of contact information. And the last level, some people actually give the administrators the full access to their account, so they can actually be as a person handling their account on their behalf. Some people choose that to do that. So then, as I mentioned, the FDNA is working on introduction of so-called my groups in beta testing. For selected projects. They went through first stage, and right now they invited several projects to participate in second phase of that. It looks in this version actually the users or participants of the projects would be able to do a little bit more about sharing or not sharing their information. So information can be shared like for all public, or shared with only within the project group, or hidden from the other members of the group. So the users will have more control over the information with specific privacy settings. So usually the projects are divided by their purpose. So some of them are called haplogroup projects, which are they are devoted to Y-DNA, direct male, or mtDNA, direct female lineages. Some projects combine different type of lineages, but they are devoted to specific geographic regions. They call geographic DNA projects. That could be like the whole country, continent, or small village. So the only thing that unite people is some territory. There is some projects that are devoted to male direct male line, which usually associated with certain surname. So that means, for example, there are. If I would imagine the Hetman Mazepa's male line, any person with the last name Mazepa could join that project to see if they are related to certain other person, or related to one common ancestors a long time ago. So, and basically you can find a project that are like kind of mixed. They can actually combine either haplogroup, territorial, and surname lineages in one project. So you can see many of those. What the advantages of participation in the project? That actually consists of access to test results for people with common ancestral lineages, so either by haplogroup or territory. The participation in the project gives the participants a choice of getting some group discounts. So usually if you are a new person and you don't belong to any project, when you order something, it's a full price. If you're a member of the project, even if you order a new test for a new person, creating a new account, you still can use a discount for the group, which is usually $10 to $20 of the regular price for people that do not participate in the project. Then again, because it's a project can actually get additional funds. The company doesn't support testing company like FDNA doesn't support financially the project. They do have some relief by giving some additional group discounts, but the project can actually get donations from third parties like individuals or some organizations that actually goes into general fund of the project, and the administrators have ability to disperse those for paying like tests for individuals that participate in the project. So kind of helping to recruit new members of the project or just new members of testing community. And also the usual administrators have a little bit more knowledge about the DNA testing, and also they have access to more information, so they can actually advise other people what tests should be done to resolve some issues, or to kind of find a solution for some genealogical problem. So they can help to interpret the results, again based on the experience or information that is available to administrators. And unfortunately, the autosomal DNA or family finder test results are not visible in the public pages, but the administrators can still see them, so they can use those in advantage to help other members to resolve some issues with genealogic problems. So the Ukrainian DNA project that is the topic of this presentation, it is a genogeographic project. So it is devoted to territory that is populated by ethnic Ukrainian people. So it consists of modern territory of modern Ukraine, but also the lands that are outside of the country, beyond its borders, but still where the majority of people are of Ukrainian descent, or any people that can claim that their ancestors came from those lands, either in Ukraine or outside of Ukraine, of Ukrainian ethnic lands. So the aim of the project was to study haplogroup distribution for both direct paternal Y-DNA or maternal mtDNA lineages in population of the ethnic Ukrainian lands in various periods of history of Ukraine. So basically, with the time, the different groups genetically maybe more or less uniform were moving from one part of the continent to the other, and that took a lot of time, and since the Ukrainian nation started to form. So basically, right now, the Ukrainians have several lineages, like big lineages, big branches of the human genetic tree mixed, and we kind of trying to figure out how they get together and how they end up making the ethnic portrait of the Ukrainian people. So, and the other aim of the project basically to help genealogists, researchers, to research their Ukrainian ancestry. So, whenever they have questions they need to resolve, and they cannot do that with just regular paper trail genealogy, they can turn to genetic testing and find out if that could help them. Do you hear me? Hello?
Oh, sorry about that. I muted myself, so just in case. But no, everything's fine.
Okay, I'm just making sure that everybody's
You're fine.
Okay, so the Ukrainian project I started in not very long ago. It's actually, if you see on this graph, it's April 2013. Myself, I started to do my testing later in 2012, which is big branches of the human genetic tree mixed, and we kind of trying to figure out. Okay, so then I tried to look for the project, because I learned about the existence of different projects, and I looked for specifically Ukrainian one. I found one, but it was not something that would satisfy my kind of desire, because it was organized by people that are mostly interested in the history or ancestry of Russian ancestors, but they were kind of in charge of Ukrainian project. And the other thing is they tried to hide from outside world, because they were afraid that English-speaking people would cause them a lot of trouble. So finally I decided to create my own project, and I started that, and since then the project steadily, as you see on this diagram, steadily grow, and just in the time of a little bit more of the year, we in next April we will have 2 years, so we already kind of reaching to the mark of 500 participants of this project. So if you look the distribution of people according to their ancestry or haplogroup kind of origin, the picture basically represents what you could see in scientific papers about distribution. So roughly, it's not exactly, because it's a very rough picture, and the thing is, among these participants of the project, there are some people that not completely, for example, you can see here Y-DNA and mtDNA on both sides lineages. So some people are of Ukrainian origin only on one line. So basically, they participate in both, creating some additional lineages that are not pure of Ukrainian ethnic origin, but they still have Ukrainian origin on the other one. So they are allowed to participate in that and provide their information to the common knowledge of the Ukrainian origin. And despite of that, that there are some people on some lines that are not Ukrainian by origin, but they this picture still kind of roughly coincides with that is reported in scientific papers. So we basically have for Y-DNA close to 50%. If you can see here, it's a R1A haplogroup for males, and then there is another big group which is I2A. This one, some people relate to Indo-European kind of ancestry, this to Dinaric, or maybe some people say it's a Tripilian culture kind of traces, and some other different lineages. So the diversity of female haplogroups is much stronger. Here I just list basic like big branches, but if you go to the small branches, it's like divided into small sections. So it's much more complicated than the male one. And here the diagram shows the participants most distant ancestors locations. So basically the most of people have ancestors that are coming from Ukraine. Some of them come from Poland, but mostly of those, like majority of those, actually come not from far lands from Ukraine. It's basically somewhere outside of the borders of Ukraine. So basically like Zakherzonia, Kherson line, or Lemkivshchina, or some regions that are related to Ukrainian kind of ancestry. The same goes to Russia, because some people actually live in Russia. They don't know exactly where their ancestors are located, but if they kind of go deeper, they find out that their ancestors came several, maybe like 2 centuries ago from Ukraine, or some lands that are populated by Ukrainian people. And the rest of people, it's actually coming from different countries. Those people represent mostly people that have, for this one, because this is Y-DNA, they have their maternal line of Ukrainian origin, but their male line come from some other country. So they have some portion of that on this circle. So to become a member of the Ukrainian project, you have to be essentially you have to show somehow that you are of Ukrainian origin. Doesn't mean that you have to be pure Ukrainian or something like that, but at least on any of the lines that are of interest to the project, on direct female line or direct male line, that you can show or kind of believe that you are of Ukrainian origin. That means your last name could be something Ukrainian sound like Teremchuk or Tkachuk or Fedorenko, something like that. That kind of indicates that your ancestors might be Ukrainians. Or you could say, my grand-grand-granddad was a Cossack that fight against Turkish in Poltava region or something like that. Or you would say, I don't know what my ancestors on mail line were, but I don't know, they like my grandpa said they were speaking Ukrainian or some kind of Ruthenian language. That kind of would indicate that they might belong to ethnic Ukrainians. Or they went to Greek Orthodox or Greek Catholic Church and lived in the region that might be populated by a majority of Ukrainian people, something like that. So it doesn't need, there is no requirement to present some solid evidence. Yes, my grandpa was Ukrainian, and here the document saying that he was. Just saying, oh, I'm looking for this one, I have some strong either evidence or belief that he is of Ukrainian origin, and I want to be part of this project, that is sufficient. But this is just to kind of help keep more focused group for the study, because sometimes there are some people that actually collect projects. So they could be like Germans or Italians, but they would join every possible project, you know, with any hint, whatever could be connection, and they have like 20, 30 projects in their portfolio. And I don't know if that helps them to resolve their genealogical problem, but usually it puts some kind of stress on administrators, because when you accept a new member, you have to kind of deal with each member. So the more members, they better be somehow related to the purpose of the project. Otherwise, they just sitting there because they cannot be helped if the administrator is not knowledgeable in your area of genealogy, kind of origin or something like that. So usually when you join the project, you can join the project even not being tested, but for majority of the projects, well, actually no, it's not that. It's you have to be at least you have to have at least a valid test kit number. So that means you can order the test. You might not have your results yet, but you have to have that number, because otherwise the project cannot accept you to being a member of any project. For specifically haplogroup projects, you probably should wait until your results come back, because you need to know your haplogroup name to join specific project, because otherwise you get into right project or wrong one. Then for geographic projects, you don't need to wait until the results are on. If you know that your ancestors come from certain region, then you can join the project that cover that region. So basically, and just from the from the purpose of getting better results, usually you can start testing Y-DNA of your Y chromosome with minimum markers required, like 12. But for better results, it's better to have at least 37. That actually puts a person and her or his results, because this is male test, in the genealogical kind of relevant interval, because you could see like with 12 markers something far away which is not related to modern history and might not help you to resolve any genealogical issues. But from the point of studying the deep history, 12 markers are fine. But we suggest that 37 would be better both for project and for the person in their studies. The same person could have mitochondrial results to help with direct female line, or both. It doesn't matter. At least one should be present to be kind of included in the results of the project. And also, besides that, the family finder or autosomal test results are not presented in public pages, but they are still available for administrators. So that means it helps administrators to get additional information to help the project members. And also, it provides the information that allow administrators to invite new people to join. Because usually in the list of genetic matches, you would see some people with Ukrainian origin, and administrator can invite those to join the project. So basically, increasing the kind of tested base for the project. Beside of the project itself, that I'm going to show you the project just a bit later. We have a Facebook page for the project. Right now, we have about almost like 800 people join that. So basically, they are learning about genetic genealogy, and particularly Ukrainian DNA genealogy, and some of them already tested, some of them just kind of getting there. We hope that more and more people would be involved in that, and I'll try right now to show you. Okay, let's see. Okay, I want to show. Okay, and I want to show the actual picture or actual site for the project. Do you see that? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. So you see that the numbers already 475 members. The project is genogeographic. There is information just general about the project, description. There is a section actually describing how you can get into the project. So some people can be tested with companies, some people are tested directly with FTDNA, but then either they transfer the data from other company or they test directly from FTDNA. You can donate money to the project that would help other people to participate in the project, or specifically if you administrator, one of the administrator has some specific question to resolve, like to test a specific person that is of interest for the project, then we that kind of money, part of those that money can be used for testing people. There are some other projects that are somehow related, and I'm trying to increase the number of those. They are specifically devoted to small region in the boundaries of Ukraine. For example, there is a Poltava region and its colonization, or Poltavщина та її заселення. There is a Podlasha, it's a Polish project that might include some Ukrainian people or people of Ukrainian origin. And for those that have specific haplogroups in Y-DNA or in mtDNA, there is a specific group that are suggested for joining, because they can help participants with more specific questions related to that or this haplogroup, because we deal mostly with general Ukrainian origin. And if you look further, actually the new things for this beta testing is that the FTDNA introduced a... Okay, actually I need to log in, sorry. What they introduced recently, some kind of forum-like page that would allow people to communicate. Before that, I had an ability as an administrator to contact people either through bulk email, which kind of takes time because that was needed to be approved to be sent out, so it was going out with some delay. Another portion was to use a Facebook page, but the problem, not every member was part of that Facebook page, so not everybody could be contacted that way. So they introduced this forum-like thing where you can post to the group, just some message, either picture or ask question. So we actually started this new beta testing only on December 4th, so we kind of knew that. But I already use that for distributing knowledge about the currently going on sale. So just for the knowledge for people that are interested in testing, right now FDNA has a holiday sale for their products, for their tests, and there is probably on this page. Down, yeah, those are kind of prices reduced from the regular ones. The thing is, on top of this sale, the FDNA introduced this time. It's actually started on November 25th and going on until December 31st. So on top of the regular discount prices, the FDNA gives any participant that already tested with the company before every week a new coupon. It's a discount coupon in addition to the discount prices. So it's selected by randomly. So each person every week at the beginning receive a new coupon on their page, and they don't know what that's going to be. Because the coupon could be from $5 off the price to 20 or 10, 20. Some tests could be $25 off, and even some of them actually get like 49. But this is rare, and people are very excited when they get those. The thing is, those coupons are renewed every week. So if you are not using the coupons this week, the next week you lose them, but you get a new set of coupons, like each person get a new coupon. The thing is, you can do with the coupon whatever you want. You can order a new test, you can buy a test for somebody else, or can give that coupon, basically a number, to any person that would love to order their test. So basically, there are plenty of coupons, and on this project page, I listed whatever people were willing to share with others. Probably some of those already used, some of those are still available, but the thing is, they are expiring. This set at the beginning expiring just tonight. So basically at midnight according to the central time, that's going to be expired, but after that the new set of coupons is going to be appearing on people's pages. So if somebody wants to order a new test, they can use those coupons. So just by contacting me, I'll try to find the extra coupons that people are willing to share. I'm trying to give some advantage to the participants of the project. That's why I list the coupons here, but also I have other pages where I give that information to like outside of the project, so the people who are interested in testing could use that. So then here there is some list of surnames. So basically, I try to collect some collection of most popular Ukrainian names, so you can kind of see them. The advantage of having this list, when people try to search and they combine something like FDNA and let's say Adamchuk, or DNA and Adamchuk, they might actually find the project easily. So that kind of drives people towards the project if they have Ukrainian type last names. There are some other links that people can use. So basically, it's some projects that are related to our project, or there is actually website dealing with genealogy, just regular genealogy. We kind of collaborate. Justin was mentioning VGD, Russian site. This site was actually a little bit of spin-off of that site, because when the war started between Ukraine and Russia, there was some tension between participants of VGD site. So some people just left there and started a new project. So this is a project that deal with Ukrainian genealogy, Belarusian genealogy, and partially Russian too. So if you're interested in participating, there is a address here, so you can find it. And then, as before, just different projects like haplogroup projects that allow people to concentrate more on their branches of human life, human tree. And then those are Y-DNA, this mtDNA, and some other kind of related links. So then there is a page that leads to shared or public results. So basically there is a classic chart which present the those are public pages, so you can get to this page without actually being a member of the project. You can see that. So here we list the kit number. There is a most distant ancestor, so if you find something that kind of relates to your ancestry, you can see that it somehow is in the project. There is a country where the most distant ancestor live, or at least current location of that location. So in which country? Then there is assignment from FDDNA that assign people to a certain branch of the genetic tree. That is like in red. It's a prediction, so that means it's not confirmed by specific tests of mutations that kind of would say yes, this is prediction right, but in most cases it's a right prediction. Very rare they make mistake. But the problem is usually those predictions are very like the very root of the certain branches, so they are not going deep. So if you want to go deep, then you have to do testing, and usually then you have to consult with other people like administrators of specific haplogroup project that would allow you to save money and time, kind of to avoid going into wrong direction. So for example, some people have a list here which I assign them as a certain group. I try to kind of classify people by their origin or their branch of genetic phylogenetic tree, and then depending on what they've been testing or what result they have of the testing or what their prediction, they kind of go together. And you could see results for different level of testing. So basically there are people that tested only 12 markers, there are people that tested 37 markers, which is kind of a minimum that requirement that we ask people to do. There is 67 and 111. So basically that would allow people kind of classify their genetic matches based on how close they are in those markers. So if for example, if you have another person that has the same set of markers or value of the markers as you are, then you might be related with a common male ancestor in the frame something from 8,000 to maybe a couple less centuries. So it's difficult to distinguish, but at least you belong to the same branch. So if you do the 37 markers, and you kind of coincide on all of those markers, that means you are related in the past probably 10 generations. So that actually come close to genetically or genealogically relevant interval. So you can actually look into documents and find out if the people are really related and how they related. So if you do that in like 67 marker match and you close in those, that comes like 6 generations back. That means you might be with great probability are relatives and having a common male ancestor. But if you have tested for 111 markers and then you have another person with 111 markers and you completely coincide or match on those, that's probably just because you are father and son, or you brothers, or maybe like uncle and nephew or something like that. So I don't know, if you find an unknown person with the same set of markers, that's probably some mystery in your family tree that you have to resolve and find out what is going on. So there is different groups of people, and they are related in belonging to different branches, and some of them are closer to each other, some of them a little bit further. That's why we try to divide them in smaller groups, kind of with more close ancestry. So right now it's a big group. So this one. Then if we go to, there is a map actually showing how the people are distributed. So basically on the classification I introduced in the project, you can sort them out either to show all of the people that are belonging to the project. You can see some of them, like most of them, are located in Ukraine and around it. Some of them are further, but those usually having like their father's line outside of Ukraine and their mother's inside. So basically, it's kind of put them a little bit further from Ukraine. But if you go deep in Ukraine, there is mostly people that have ancestry in Ukraine, and those ancestors are mostly of ethnic Ukrainian kind of origin. So you can see a little bit more dense here. That's because this project actually attracts a lot of people of Ukrainian origin that speak English, that live outside of Ukraine, either in States or any other countries. We actually have participants from Canada, from the US, from maybe not Brazil, but Australia for sure, from Europe, different countries, of course from Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. So they participate. But because this project is visible for people that are of Ukrainian or Ukrainian speaking and English speaking, but usually people from outside of Ukraine are more financially kind of independent, so they can actually more easy pay for their tests. So a little bit this region more populated. So, but right now I'm trying to actually spread the knowledge about the project for other people in Ukraine. We have the Facebook, which has a lot of people living in Ukraine, and we getting new members that are people that currently live in Ukraine. So they are of big interest for their ancestry, and they try to get into this, despite of that. Even like during the present time, it's not very easy times from financial point of view and with work going on. So people are still have a great interest for genealogy. So this part is, so you can sort out by different groups if you want. For example, this is people that belong to specific G2A haplogroup. There is a couple of those living in Ukraine or having an direct ancestor, male ancestors in Ukraine, or some other larger, smaller groups. So for example, I'll show you some of it. So you can kind of locate where people usually come from, where they could have relatives or something like that. Then there is another page which is showing the SNP markers. It's a little this page is mostly for people who are interested in deep ancestry, like 1,000 years, and how it comes to present with branches and what branch they belong to. So you have to do some big tests like Big Y that was introduced last year by FDNA, or do some individual SNP tests. So it's mutations that allow to figure out what the tree looks like. So then, if you go for the female side of your ancestry, there is also results that are a little bit different from the male one. And in general, the female results are a little bit less informative as for males. But nevertheless, if you have two cousins that claim to be relatives with common grandma or great-grandma on direct female line, and you test them and find out that they are not belonging to the same group, then something wrong with your tree. So you might be needing to check that tree or check your documents, something like that. So just in general, people have to remember, because sometimes people, in the past I've heard stories like researchers had problems with other people that would contact them and ask, do you know where I can find my tree, right? Because the problem is, in the past there was no trees ready, just waiting for people to discover them. Right now the situation is a little bit different. For example, from my own experience, I have a genetic match. The guy who has well developed his family tree up to like 17th century. So that means several generations is included on all lines of his family tree. And the genetic tests show that we are related with some common great-great parent, great-great-grandparent, and that kind of indicates that that common ancestor should be in that tree. So now I have to kind of push my paper trail genealogy just to find out how exactly we are related and which branch of my tree is connected to history and which branch. So that gives me some incentive, because I know there is, if I find that connection, I'll actually can jump several generations, because that guy not only have all his lines up to probably like 17th century, but some of his lines actually go up till like 13th century. So if I would by chance would be related to one of those branches, my tree in certain branch would grow much further than I have it right now. So that kind of would help me to resolve my kind of grow up my tree. So the same goes for map for people related on the mtDNA line. So the same here, we have majority of people in or around Ukraine, and there are some people from outside. Those again, usually people who have their maternal lines outside of Ukraine, but paternal line, direct paternal in Ukraine. So this is about the project. What else? Okay, so here just a link that allow people to donate. We kind of a little bit low right now. I had several people donated to the project, and we already used by small portions on different people just to persuade them to start their testing. So they actually, that was kind of successful, and we're planning to continue that. So the project, as I told you, is getting bigger and bigger. We'll get into the mark of 500, and we hope to increase that number. And to deal with more people and provide them with better help, I'm actually thinking about starting some forum or site that would actually deal only with Ukrainian DNA genealogy, so to be devoted to that. So it's kind of in the plans. So if you have questions, just let me know. I can be contacted. There is, if you go to this page, just the address is www.familytreedna.com, groups Ukrainian DNA, and then or just search Ukrainian DNA project at FTDNA. So there is my email here. If you click, so it's easy to contact. Or you can go to the web page, the family book page, and I'll show you just. We have this family book, Ukrainian DNA genealogy group at Facebook. So you can join. There is some information that we shared. Some people discuss their findings or their plans about testings. There are some general information about the DNA testing and so on. Okay, that's probably it on my side. If you have questions, please ask.
Volodymyr, thank you very much for the wonderful, the explanations were phenomenal. I learned, even though I'm not myself a member, but manage kits that are members of the project, seeing the information all put together like that definitely answered some questions and also give me new information. And I do thank you for the presentation this evening. I will open it up to the panel to see if they have any questions for you in regards to the DNA project or potentially a DNA test, specific test that they might have a question on. Anyone?
Volodymyr, this is Mike Burek. I had one question about the Family Finder service.
Yes.
How many generations back does it include?
Usually the Family Finder tests cover 5 to 6 generations back. So basically you can see matches that are cousins like second, third, fourth, fifth, and maybe a little bit further. That means you cannot go too much far. Okay. But if you want to go deeper a little bit beyond 5, 6 generations, you probably should find all the generations in your families. For example, if your father is still alive or grandfather, then you test them. Each person would give another kind of step back, because from the tested person, it's 5, 6 generations back. So the older person you test, the better.
Okay. And one second question on haplogroups and distinctions between Polish people, Russians, Ukrainians, and people from Belarus. You mentioned that for the male DNA, about 50% are R1A.
Yes.
Do we see this group also among Poles, Russians, and Belarusians?
Yes, the thing is the ratio between different haplogroups in different nations a little bit different. So some people say, okay, we have the same haplogroups in our kind of background, so we are the same. It's not exactly, because like Polish have a larger amount of R1A. Russians maybe have also about 50%, but they have more N1C, which is like Finno-Ugric or Finland origin, which are more related to north of Russia. And sometimes Russians like to say, Ukrainians and Russians are the same because they have the same similar genetic or like ethno portrait, because they compare people living just outside of Ukraine in Slobozhanщина, for example, like Kursk region or Voronezh region of Russia, which was heavily populated by Ukrainians in the past. So the same goes for Kuban, Stavropol. So you need to be careful when you compare those. And also when you say 50%, if I say 50%, you need to look what the actual composition of that, because it's just big branch. So if you say I belong to the same R1A, that means we have a common ancestor 8,000 years ago. Does it tell, are we different or not? Well, if you go deeper, you can find all people related in that sense.
Right.
So, but we're more interested in recent developments. So, for example, last 1,000 or 2,000 years, where the distinguishing between nations would happen. But the thing is, we didn't have enough data right now. So we actually started to get in, because as I mentioned, there is a tests so-called Big Y, which allow to more deep testing of male line. So that would allow to actually bring the smaller branches up to almost like current days. That would show, do we belong to the same branches or not? How far we separated? And you could actually see that certain branches, yes, populated heavily with Ukrainians. Certain branches heavily populated, but it's not like only belonging to R1A make them relatives, very close relatives or something genetically. So right now the data, the quantity and quality of the data kind of increases. That would allow more get information, and the studies based on that is just coming.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else on the panel with a question? Matt, Justin, anything?
Current days, that would show, do we belong to the same branches or not? How far we separated?
Scott.
And you could actually see that certain branches. Yes. Sorry, I don't hear. There is some.
Okay, hold on.
Heavily populated, but it's not.
See what happens when you have to go check comments in 3 different places. I apologize. Okay.
Could you repeat that question?
All right. Did anyone have a question? Did my not paying attention to the YouTube page cut off anybody? I apologize. No. Okay. So anyone? No one had a question. Justin, you just got test results and you have nothing, or yes, you did just get test results.
Yeah, I just got test results. I don't think I have any questions based on them yet. Well, I haven't gotten the mitochondrial from my grandmother. All I've gotten is the family finder, which came in through Ancestry, and I've paid to load it into Family Tree. It's still in the process of unlocking. So until all of that happens, I guess I don't have anything to ask about.
You just see the first 2 pages, right?
Right, that's all I see. And it's funny because I actually see 3 or 4 people in our Nashi Predky group who are family finder matches of my grandmother. So it's very interesting to see what develops from that.
Yeah, the thing is, like for any members basically of our project that who did the family finder, you can find some 2-3 members of the projects in that list. So we are related, very heavily.
All right. I'm just checking all 3 places to make sure that I'm not missing any comments out there. So I'm sorry if I kind of wander just slightly away in attention. But we don't have any questions posted to our Facebook page nor to our Google Plus page. So again, I wish to offer our sincere thanks to you for presenting to us this evening. The presentation was definitely more than I expected. When I asked for, could you do a 20-30 minute presentation on the project, it definitely exceeded the expectations, and I do want to say thank you for that. Let's see. We'll do this. Change that off. Okay. And again, I have no comments in Facebook or others. Okay, so we're currently we started a little after 8 o'clock. We're currently at that hour and a half-ish mark at 9:45 Eastern time. I wish to, if anyone is in another time zone, either behind us or ahead of us, the possibility of someone being in Europe is always there for us. Just wanted to point people, if you are coming to watch the video broadcast, the Hangout on Air for Nashi Predky via one of the mailing lists information, and you went to our Google Plus page, please consider, if you do have a Facebook account, joining us on Facebook at our group page. We have a very active group for discussion, and we welcome questions, and we will do our best to assist you and point you in the right direction. I just want to also make everyone aware, save the date for our next Google Hangout on Air. It will be Sunday evening, January 18th, just the day before Epiphany on the old calendar. So, you know, just want to let everybody be aware of that. This way they can mark it on. It will be 8 p.m. Eastern time. I will post the announcement with a time zone converter in case you do need to figure out if, you know, how far ahead, how far behind you are from the Eastern Standard Time, because we have fallen back, so we're back to Standard Time again. The topics for the presentation or the next Hangout have not been set yet, but you know, we're hoping to have again another hour and a half of good research information for you. And if you have a specific topic you'd like to see presented or spoken about, please feel free to email me via, you know, you can IM me through Facebook or send me an email. My email, you can just Google me, Michelle Chvenko. I'm sure there'll be plenty of links to choose from since I've been doing genealogy a while. I just wanted to point out that we have 2 other members of our Nashi Predky coordination committee with us tonight. So I'm going to kind of put them on the spot. I think they know who they are. But I want to thank Michael Burek for joining us this evening. He is one of the coordinators for the Family History Group at the Ukrainian Historical and Education Center of New Jersey, as well as a coordinator for Nashi Predky, the Ukrainian genealogy group on Facebook and Google+. And we have Matthew Bilava with us this evening. He's also been an instrumental part in the success of getting Nashi Predky moving forward in that, as well as we introduced Justin a little bit earlier, but also let you know that he is part of our committee as well. And just wanted to kind of put names to faces and let everybody know who is working with us getting Ukrainian genealogy moving forward. But what I'd like to do is open up to the panel. If you had any questions that were not related to Yandex or to the Ukrainian DNA project, now would be the time to speak up and let us know. Or if you have an announcement, let us, you know, give us information. That would be fine as well. I will turn it over if anybody just wants to raise their hand and let me know. We have a very quiet group this evening. Last time we were a very chatty group, so this is you know, a big surprise on that. Anything? No. Oh my God. Oh, Matthew, we have to get you unmuted. Let's get you unmuted. All right, let's see.
Yeah,
okay, there you go.
All right. I'm new at this still. I've been saying that for a year. I do have a question for Volodymyr about the Family Finder. I do have my DNA already in Family Tree DNA, but honestly, I'm just overwhelmed by all the science of it, so I don't spend a lot of time reviewing my results. They've been in there for quite some time. I imagine then before your project began, because I certainly would have joined your project. I'm in the Norman Helpful group, I think, or something like that. I joined, but I'm just overwhelmed with all the science and the data. But
just not too many numbers.
Yeah, yes. And I was not good in science. But I do have a question about the Family Finder, the autosomal testing.
Yes.
Was it a choice that you're able to view the data, which is great, because I'm going to join this. I'm really excited about this. You've got me all excited about this. So certainly you can look at my data, but was there a reason why the public was not able to review
the thing is there is not much to view. Basically, when you have your testing, along with the data, you have a list of your matches. So the list of the matches never shown to the general public, only basically to you or the administrator. The numbers like YDNA, they don't tell much about you, and that helps other people to kind of compare them without actually disturbing you or something like that. But the list is not shown. For the Family Finder, there is some data, but it's basically in some file. You cannot just see it easily, even if you want it. You need to have some chromosome browser, which some company provide, like the FDNA shows a little bit of chromosome browsing that you can compare different people matching regions in your chromosomes. Or you can go to gedmatch.com, where you can download your data and then compare with many other people, not only from FTDNA, but from 23andMe or from Ancestry. But mostly because it's all information concentrated in the list, and list is not presentable, so they don't show it. But for me as administrator, it's still useful because I can see how you relate it. If you ask specific questions, I can look and kind of try to help you to find the answer, or or just find the people that could be interested in joining the project. Then it will be easy to contact and kind of get together, because you find some person that is related, but you either not contacting them or they kind of non-available. So I can make them come together in one project. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Matt. And anyone else? If you have a question, please be sure you're unmuting your mic, because if you're muted, we can't hear you. And if you have your picture set to your profile picture, we don't even know you're raising your hand either. So if anyone is looking to join, we still have a space or two left on the panel, and we could look to have new faces on here. I don't have any questions from the community itself. We had hoped that there would be some interaction either on the Facebook page for folks who didn't want to join the panel but were watching. We averaged about 12 to 13 viewers. So on top of the 8 or 9 that we had on the panel, that is, I think, fantastic. We basically more than doubled our attendance from the previous month. So I think that's a pretty good direction for us to be heading. Do we have any other? Oh, go ahead, Justin.
Okay, this is just a thought that occurred to me based on what we were talking about earlier. But this is kind of a technical question about the DNA. But what I did with my grandmother so far is I had her tested. I had her mitochondrial DNA tested through Family Tree DNA, because, of course, they're the only ones. Ancestry doesn't do that anymore. And I can submit that to your project for her mitochondrial DNA. But with her autosomal DNA, I had it tested through Ancestry so that I could then convert it over to Family Finder and then unlock it. But the question is, the way that Family Tree DNA seems to be set up, it now looks like my grandmother, unless there's some way to fix this, she's going to have 2 different accounts. She's going to have her mitochondrial account, and then she's going to have her converted account from Ancestry. And so I guess my question to you is, will that be a problem for you if I try to bring my grandmother into your project as one account for mitochondrial, one account for autosomal? Will you be able to see that those link up and that's actually the same person?
No, the thing is, you would have 2 different accounts in the project, and they would be treated as different accounts. I'm just surprised why you actually created a new one, because once you try, when you try to transfer data from Ancestry or 23andMe to FDNA, they were supposed to ask if you already have an account. So if you don't have the autosomal test already done and that account existing, then you should be able to add data to existing account.
Oh,
Otherwise,
I'll go back and see if I can do that then. Yeah, I don't remember.
That means if you already have the test done with FTDNA, like Family Finder, you can't have another set to transfer from another. So that would create another account, and then you would see, like, you have a related person, but oh, that's me, right? Because you have another account. And I have some people did that, so they didn't know that they can kind of put data together. The thing is, the Family Finder and Ancestry autosomal test, they're basically the same in data, so you don't need to duplicate the results. So people are saving money by doing testing like for at Ancestry and then transferring the data to Family Tree DNA. But because the technology is the same, the results are the same. The only thing for you, it's a good thing to have both Ancestry and the Family Tree DNA, because you expand the pool of people you compared your results with, and that's also kind of recommended when for people to download the data to GEDmatch, or GEDmatch, so to extend the kind of community of people that you can compare your results with. But even if by any chance you created two separate accounts and they don't have duplicated data, we can still ask FTDNA to combine those and create one account. So to simplify life, if you want to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And another remark, the thing is right now, as I mentioned, there is a sale for different tests and everything. I don't know if that actually could be applied for this case. There is a set of coupons that by definition is you're supposed to be able to use them for any type of purchase. So those usually like $5 off the regular price. So if you do the transfer, and the transfer is like $39, I believe if you apply the coupon, you can actually reduce the price to $29. So if you decide on doing that, just ask me. I'll send you code for the this thing to try. So if that would help to save $10 off the 39, that would be great. Just. Okay. Any other questions related to DNA genealogy, especially related to Ukrainian one?
Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't have any. Okay. All right. So I don't have any questions. Anyone else on the panel have questions? No. I know. I've got the mic there. All right. So I announced our next Hangout on Air, which will be again Sunday, January 18th. I also wanted to put a save the date out there for our in-person workshop hosted by the Ukrainian Historical and Educational Center of New Jersey. The date has been set to Saturday, March 21st, 2015. Details to be announced. We're still in the planning stages, but we wanted to at least get the date out there so people can put it on the calendar for next year. And then just, I don't know if we want to just make one quick mention. If you, I'm looking for the browser. Here we go. I don't. Okay. All right. So on December 4th, the regional archives in Przemyśl, Poland, had made an announcement that they released a very large digital release of records, including metrical, church records, and cadastral maps. So we just wanted to make sure everybody is aware of it. We had a very lively discussion on our Facebook page on how to use the search page for the archives. Currently, I did not tell it to translate, so it is still in Polish. But the key field for everybody is the actual location, and that's where you would enter in your village name. You can look by types. If you're looking for cadastral maps, that it would be the cartographic documents. If you're looking for the metrical or the church records, there it is. It would be the I guess that would be the, I can't think of the word offhand, I apologize, the documents there, and then you could just search and browse, or if you put in the village name, you could get the specific information for the village. But I just wanted to quickly point out that this particular search engine is not linked to the digital search engine on the national, the Polish National Archives website. So this is still not hooked yet into their global search yet. You still have to use the regional archives search engine to get to their records. I understand that connection is coming, but you won't be able to see it through and it's not on this page either. They have the other ones. I'm surprised they don't have the digital link on that page. But I just wanted to point that out. If you're interested in records that may be held at this regional archives, do check out their online search engine. You can, the link is here, and if you have any questions, please, you can post it on our Google Plus page or our Facebook page. We have a few folks that are handy with the website already, and they'd be more than happy to assist you with that. Any other questions or anything to discuss before we end the call? It is just about 10 o'clock. We started, surprisingly enough to say, just about 2 hours ago. So I definitely want to let everybody on the East Coast, or those who are ahead of us, get some sleep tonight. Tomorrow is a Monday, and I want to make sure everybody gets well rested for their Monday. Gentlemen, and I know there we have ladies on the other side as well, that I thank you all for coming out this evening, and look forward to speaking with you on Facebook, Google+, or in a future Hangout on Air. Any other announcements before we go? No? Okay. All right, well, I thank everyone, and I hope everyone has a great evening, and we will see each other again in January. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and happy searching.